Hello my friends, Michael Pyne here, and in this video I want to share with you guys how to use a medicine wheel, a sacred circle, in your meditations, in your ritual, in your ceremony, and your sexuality, and in your healing practice, and in your life in general. So medicine wheel, what is it? It's creating an energetic container around you, around a space. There's many forms of it, many variations of it. It's found in different formats in many cultures around the world. It's a way to center yourself, center your space, as well as get connected with life itself, get connected with the planet, get connected with spirit, and sort of create an intentional, sacred, energetic container around you. I almost like to think of it as you're creating your own temple, your own sanctuary around you for any sort of spiritual work, and really just great to have in life in general, to have this around you. Now, if you've done a lot of meditation work, you might have come across different ways to sort of protect yourself or contain your energy field. And there's some similarities here. However, this to me is not so much of a protection, right, that there's something to be afraid of. This is creating a vibrational sanctuary, an energetic sanctuary, a holy space around you, and that you're carrying that and sustaining that and holding that around you and letting that be there for whatever spiritual kind of work you're doing, whatever kind of energy work you're doing, or as I said, just in life in general, holding this sanctuary, your temple. It's like creating your temple around you, and that can become stronger and stronger, which also helps to generate that or experience that in life. Now I want to go over some key components of the medicine wheel, again, how it works, how to set it up, a few of the different traditions. Now I'm going to do another separate video where it's just me purely guiding you through sort of an invocation, a prayer to set up a sanctuary. And this is a great starting point for you. So I'll talk about that in a bit. So as I said, the medicine wheel is found in different traditions, and each tradition has its own sort of variations. But what's common is using the 4 directions as a starting point: east, south, west, and north. Sometimes you use the in-betweens, east or southeast, southwest, northwest, northeast, the 8 points. So up to you. You can start with 4, you can try 8. If you feel like you need the full 8, go for it. And how you do it is it's really intention. It's connecting intentionally with those directions. Now, this can be done through multiple ways. One is to invoke them by saying them, by calling them in. And this is very traditional. So it might be something like, I call forth east. I call forth the direction of east, the gate of east, the energies of east, the animal totems of east, the spirits of east. Again, this is totally customizable to you, and that's one of the beautiful blessings about modern day here, is that we have access to all these traditions and see what resonates with our soul. It may be a certain one at a certain time. We may evolve it, or we may be like, nope, this is my thing, this is the way I do it, and we stick with that, and that's perfectly fine. So you get to explore here, and I encourage you to find what works for you, what excites you, what really resonates with you, and what gets you in a empowered state, right? If I tell you east is a particular animal, and you don't really have any kind of connection with that animal, it's not going to be as empowering for you. But if you look at east and you're like, oh, east really feels like this to me, this particular animal or this plant or whatever it is to you, and that excites you and gets you charged up and feels good, this is your sanctuary ultimately. I'm giving you some guidelines here, a template, a format, and understanding, and then I want you to build your template. And let me know in the comments below what works for you. What do you like? I'd love to hear your experience, your creations with this. It's your sanctuary. All right, so that's one step, is invocating or calling in the directions. And you go around the circle, if you will, right? Generally, I start with east. It seems to be a common tradition. However, it's not, again, a hard and fast rule. East, I call forth east. I say some different invocations. Often for me, it's sort of I'm just kind of in the flow each time. I have some different ideas, some different animals or spirits or essences that I generally like to work with. However, depending on the situation and what I feel inspired in that moment, that time is what I call forth. So I'll give you an example. I call forth and open the gates at east, the elements of air, of the rising sun, of springtime. I invoke your magic, your guardianship, your protection, your wisdom to be here and help hold this sacred sanctuary, to bring your blessings upon whatever, this work I am doing here and now. As for your guardianship and your connection, all hail and welcome and give thanks to the direction of east. So that's a little example. And again, watch the other video if you want a full on out where I really go for it for all the directions. Now, other ways to do that or connect with those directions, and again, you can have multiple here depending on your situation, is to have a little altar. Have the little offering plate for that direction. And again, there may be certain stones you find that you feel connected to that. It may be certain figurines, gods or goddesses, feathers, plants, candles, symbols. You may draw something. Totally creative here. You can do some research and find different things associated with different directions and then go with what feels right to you. So you might set those up. If you're in a space, it's your room, your healing room, your meditation room, whatever it is, you could potentially have a little altar for each direction, east, south, west, north, and even align those with a compass. Okay, this is where they're at. This east one's going in the east, obviously, right? South is going south, west, west, north, north. So you can set up those little altars as you'd like there and leave those there. I have, a little kit sort of that I put together, some of my favorite things that I carry around with me, especially right now I'm traveling. So I've got my things that, can set up somewhere if I want to create that sacred space. And it's not a full, huge elaborate setup, but it's a few items that help me just sort of connect and establish that intentionally and energetically around me. So I encourage you to sort of create that, and that can, again, evolve over time, but to have your sacred items for each direction. And so as you begin to create that space, again, there's a lot of ways to use this here. So I'll go into some more of those, but if you're gonna do a meditation or some kind of spiritual work, you can go ahead and set up those altars and then call them in. Another way I love to do it is to play a little bit of music for each direction. I have a Native American flute or a mouth harp or something small, and I might do just a little, 30-second musical prayer, if you will, to that direction. And again, it's very in the flow each time for me. So that may be another way if that's something, one of your skills. You may want to sing something. Sometimes I sing, sometimes I use light language. Check out my other videos about light language if you're interested in what that is. You can sing. You can just sort of connect with it energetically, intentionally, visualize the east coming in. Again, I said east is air and springtime. It's not always associated with that, but the ones I've connected with personally, that's what I go for. So I might invoke or envision the east, the winds, springtime, that energy, and just drawing that in and creating this space. And you can do all these things with each direction, of course. So once you've done that for the directions, what I like to sort of envision is you're creating a circle, right? The medicine wheel or a sacred hoop or a circle around you. You've called these 4 directions. You've created a container. Now, the other ones that are often invoked are the below, which is the planet itself. And this can be to you, it could be feminine earth, masculine earth, or ideally to me is both, drawing in both those energies. In the realms of the earth, to me, that's the nature spirits, the primal forces of the earth, the stones, the rock, all the energies of the earth itself. So I invoke it and welcome that up to sustain and hold and nurture and ground the space, right? Keep it grounded, just like we want to ground our energy, we want to ground the space. So I call forth that. Again, whatever way works for you. Having an altar, saying a prayer, envisioning it. Often people put their hands there and connect with it, physically, and their feet on the ground. So that's a great way to do it. The next after that generally is the above. And this could be, the heavens to you, God, goddess, the divine masculine, divine feminine, the angelic realms, star races, ascended masters, Christed ones, spiritual beings above, any and all those right levels that you connect with, that resonate with you, that you resonate with, that excite you and connect you and make you feel connected to something higher, spiritual aspects. You invite that in. And again, all these things it's almost like an invitation. So we're inviting, we're invoking, almost like we're calling them in. We're calling, like you call a friend, you're calling them in to come and be there with you and support this sanctuary. And then in the center of all of this, now you've got the below, you've got the above. Now you come into the center, into your own being, into your own heart. And this is the axis mundi, or the center of the tree, or the trunk of this whole thing, the central point of it. And so it's you. So you're actually calling in yourself, your presence. Now that you've created this beautiful container around you, you're drawing in yourself into your center being. And so you call in the center, you call in yourself, your mighty spirit, your presence, your gifts. And now that you've created the sanctuary around you, it's a lot easier to do that. So that's the basic overview there of it's called the 7 directions. And of course, as I said, you can call on the intermediary directions as well if you'd like. Now, again, altars, the altars for below, again, have that wherever you want, and above, depending if you have space above somewhere or wherever works for you. Not required, but if you feel it, go for it. Once you've called them in, you've now created this, like I said, energetic sanctuary. It's almost like an energetic temple around you. And once that's held in place, you've got that to begin your spiritual work, whatever it is you're doing. So some examples of where you might use this is, of course, for your own meditation, any sort of magical ritual or ceremony you're doing. This is great if you are some sort of energy healing practitioner and you're working with clients. It can be good for anything. If you're a hypnotherapist, a therapist, some sort of service worker, anywhere where you're interacting with people and helping them to sort of shed things, release stress, release trauma, release pain, kind of clear things out of their system. And right, there's a lot of ways we do that. It can even be with a friend. If a friend comes to you and they're struggling with something and you want to kind of go in that mode where you're helping them, you can create this container there. And it's almost, like I said, it's a sanctuary. It's a womb. It's just a nurturing space that makes it so much easier, right? It kind of helps, I'll say, close out the outside world and all the stories and energy and stuff going on. And you're just like, this sanctuary here, I can be, I can let go, I can be myself. And it's so healing for people. So you can do it in that space. It's great to do it if you're, sexually engaging with somebody intimately, to create that space around the two of you to have a sacred sanctuary for, really deep, powerful, magical lovemaking. It's great if you're doing a talk and you're in front of a lot of people. You can create a big one around the group. I've done that before. So lots of uses, anywhere and everywhere. It's great to do it when you have to go into public and there's a lot of energies going around. If you're at like a busy restaurant or out in a busy street or where there's a lot of stuff going on, to create that around you. And when I say it in that context of, out in public or something, obviously you can't always, maybe you can, but you can't always set up altars and do the full thing. So, for me, what I do is I sort of visualize it. I might say a silent prayer. I just sort of establish that energetically through my intention and my heart around me to hold the space, hold the sacred space. So that's always available. And as you practice it, as you get more accustomed to it, it becomes easier, and then it's just sort of there for you. And you can just tap into it as you need. I invite you to practice this and set this up and start establishing it first in your home. Get used to it. Do whatever research you want to do on, whatever you want to use for the different directions, what they mean to you, what resonates for you. And then once you've kind of created that template, and you might even want to write it down, and that can change, but keep it like a journal of what works for you. Kind of have your custom medicine wheel, if you will. Once you've got that, and you've practiced it, then it's easier for you to just draw that in whenever you need to. Now, some things this can help with is obviously, right, kind of keeping out outside energies. So much in the modern world, everyone's open, we're picking up stuff from each other. So this helps kind of prevent that, helps you keep in your own energy, especially if you're, as I said, going public places, if you go to work somewhere, if you got meetings, whatever, it kind of keeps that space up. Now, if you're working with a client, say, or somebody where you're trying to help them move energy out of their system, clear something out of their system, you can create this sanctuary around the two of you. And you might also try creating a sort of a mini one around you yourself to keep you sort of in your sanctuary, and then one around the two of you that's kind of supportive for that person. That way you're still in your space. It's easier if you're very empathic, and you pick up stuff from other people to hold this there around you. It keeps you in your center so you can help them, but you're not pulling their stuff into your system. So that's very important. So please share down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your medicine wheel looks like, what you find and what you put in your circle, and how it helps you. You know, what are you using it for? Let me know. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I'll be glad to support you in creating your own medicine wheel. And then make sure to stay tuned. I'll be doing another video where I'm just going to give you a prayer invocation for the medicine wheel. And this is something you can use as a starting point. You can just listen to it and use that, or play it out loud and use that. You may wish to repeat it yourself in your own words. And then my hope for you is that you customize it, and that gives you something to start with, but then you start to customize it with your own words, whatever, again, empowers you to have a beautiful, powerful sanctuary for yourself and your life. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this inspired you, and looking forward to seeing what you create with it. Much love.